What is up, my dashing dudes and darling dames? I am the Hans TV, and welcome back to the subreddit that gives you all of those good justice feels. It's r/ProRevenge. Our first post for today comes from Throwaway9718. Nightmare Airbnb guest trashed my place and left me a 1-star rating, so I probably ruined his whole life. This is super long, and I want to preface this with some context. I come from an immigrant family and my parents are immigrants from a developing country. I am also usually a really kind, compassionate, doormat type person. Still, I feel justified in what I've done here. We have a vacation property that we rent out, a few hours drive from where we reside. Especially since COVID-19, the money has been really necessary for us to keep afloat. I manage the property. We usually don't allow large numbers of guests anymore due to the wear and tear to our condo. People don't treat Airbnbs with much respect, it seems. We have a $500 pet fee and a $500 party fee. We've had lots of incidents with people breaking the rules, throwing parties, bringing their dogs, and dirtying up the place, but nothing prepared us for this. I got a message a couple of months ago from some guy named B, with an Arabic name, this is salient later, who wanted to rent my place with 6 of his friends. He said they were all PhDs or professionals in their 30s. Quiet, respectful people who would treat our place well if I would only give him a chance. My spouse balked, but I felt bad. The guys seemed nice, and B assured me that they wouldn't be rowdy partiers. I cajoled my spouse a bit, and finally he acquiesced. I mentioned that we no longer allowed cooking in the condo due to people abusing the privilege. Our cookware was destroyed and people had destroyed our garbage disposal, and the cost of utilities made it cost ineffective for us. This is also detailed in the listing, but people don't read, so I like to reiterate it. B said it's fine. The whole 3 days they stayed there, I checked in on them a couple of times. They mentioned no issues. They asked about where to dispose of the trash in the condo, but that's it. I reminded them the night before that checkout is at 10 a.m. the next morning. Again, no problems. At 11 a.m. the day they check out, our cleaner arrives to find an absolute horror scene. There was a lasagna in the microwave with bugs coming out of it. There were burn marks on the carpet. There were beach stains on the beige carpet. There were weird white stains on the couch. Pretty sure what those were. There were scratches on the stone counter in the bathroom, like someone had taken a razor blade to it. There was a closet door off its hinges. Our electrical breaker had been broken into, and these freakers disabled the outdoor security camera. They broke into our cleaning closet and took out the cookware. There was a hole in the wall. And worst of all, someone pissed all over our condo. And it wasn't like, oh, someone got drunk and pissed the bed. There was a yellow stain at the head of the bed. There were piss-covered sheets left in the corner. The whole condo reeked of piss and acrid smoke. I suspected drugs and not the benevolent kind. It had seeped into the walls. The cleaner refused to clean it. My spouse had to drive 4 hours to clean the place because I was ill. It took him a few days to get everything done. We had to also hire additional special cleaners on top of that. My spouse was like, let's let this go, we will just swallow the cost. But I was so angry that B messed us over that I vouched for him and his friends. I suspect they were doing meth and having some kind of crazy party, but they didn't have to destroy our property or treat our bags like urinals. I was furious and I wanted justice. We called the police, but they said to take it up with Airbnb. I tried to reach out to Airbnb, who told me to take it up with the guest. Side note, F you Airbnb, don't ever list your property on there if you're thinking of becoming a host. There are way better vacation rental sites who will protect you. Airbnb told me to request that the guest pay damages and promised me on the phone that they would remove any retaliatory reviews. An assurance I extracted because I feared what would come to pass. I reached out to him, my anger crescendoing as each new detail came to light. The cleaner only told us about the lasagna and burn marks and smell. I left B several angry messages and requested he pay $1,500 damages. I told him we were filing a police report and that a canine would be brought to ascertain that they didn't use drugs, as I feared meth poisoning at the property. The latter was a bluff, but I was trying to pressure him. I assumed they'd had a party and brought a dog. Since they disabled the camera, I had no proof. Because the closet door was off its hinges, there were burn marks and uwu stains on the couch, and what human would piss at the head of a bed like that? Plus, the special cleaning and bug extermination was north of several $100s. This freaking son of a B told me that they left the place immaculately. So someone just trashed the place in the hour between when you checked out and when the cleaner came? Yeah, right. We knew exactly when they left because we have an electronic Wi-Fi lock. And they threatened to sue me for harassment and slander. He also said that they did not have a dog. To which I replied, so you're telling me the piss on the head of the bed is from a human? He said he called the police, detailing the precinct and officer with whom he spoke, and they said that no canine had been dispatched, which convinced me that he was clearly paranoid about the law enforcement involvement. I suspected he was here on visa. Then he left me a 1-star review, talking about all these problems with his stay and accused me of extortion. I had only 5-star reviews and 1 4-star review prior to this. That hurts my chance for future business. Then he went to Airbnb and demanded a refund for my poor quality service. Once again, there were no complaints before I requested remuneration for the damages. Due to his lies, Airbnb refused to reimburse me for the damage and refused to remove the retaliatory review also. Though it took them literally 6 weeks to tell me that. Once again, F you Airbnb. Despite screenshots of my correspondence with B backing up my narrative and about 30 pictures of the damage, which actually didn't even cover the full extent of it honestly. I felt impotent and I was so angry. I am usually a pacifist. I was raised on it. It's in my culture. I usually turn the other cheek, believing that karma will come for everyone's actions. But that attitude has gotten me taken advantage of a lot. And this time, I snapped. You see, my spouse had a job in the federal government. He is, shall we say, extremely well connected. I had B's full name and phone number. I went on a freaking rampage and felt an unprecedented level of vituperation. I demanded my spouse look this dude up, and he complied. I also did some cyberstalking of my own. Here's what we found out. B had been a PhD student, but he finished his postdoc. He had been working for a company and was in the US on a work visa. But he had been furloughed or something from the company for which he worked. He was looking for a new job. But this dude was also sketchy. He had an alias, and the picture on his LinkedIn was of a different person than on his Airbnb. Unfortunately for B, he is from Egypt, and we live in the age of Donald Trump. He still had time on his work visa technically, but my spouse knows people. We pulled some strings. Can you guess what happened next? Long story short, I got him deported. He had to appear before a judge, but with a complaint against him from an important person and the racism endemic in the system, B was screwed. I hope he spent tons of money on a lawyer. This stuff happened at the end of the summer. I believe he's on a plane back to Egypt forthwith. At the very least, he's in detention at the moment awaiting deportation. I don't think he even knows it was me. I kind of want him to know, but I don't know if that would do me any good karmically to be sadistic about this. His little friends are lucky I don't throw their names. I kind of hope one of those little freakers is reading this and they tell him, if you want to have a meth-fueled orgy or whatever the heck, at least take responsibility and pay up the damages to my property instead of acting like an entitled witch. The damages cost more than the money we made from their booking. I'm normally racked with guilt about killing ants or spiders, but I feel justified that I squashed this roach. Theoretically, I feel pity for him and like maybe what I did was extreme, but I feel justified nonetheless. I relied on that income, and he seriously messed with my livelihood. Not to mention, my peace of mind. I disabled Airbnb after that, since a 1-star review is like a death knell. But I extracted my pound of flesh for the vandalism in the review. Have fun living in Egypt, asshole. OP, I don't think this belongs in ProRevenge. I think this story would better be suited for Supernova Revenge. I mean, you got the man deported. Well, alright my dashing dudes and darling dames, that is going to do it for today's episode of r/ProRevenge. I hope you liked the stories, and if you did, I'm going to link them in the description as always. And if you liked the video, subscribe, share, drop a like, and a comment down below what would you like to see me read next. A humongous thank you to everyone who continues to subscribe and keeps on pushing out my content and watching it. I cannot thank y'all for what y'all do, and it makes me so enheartened to know that y'all are still liking my content. But with that being said, I will see you in the next video.